Hi friends, and welcome to this week's episode. If you're just joining me, I'm Dr. Susan. I'm a board-certified gynecologist and certified menopause practitioner, also a certified life and leadership coach, dedicated to taking care of women just like me, women in midlife who want to feel our best now and also set up the healthiest older version of ourselves, because of course that starts now. Well, I'm going to tell you about an adventure I took recently. Not to brag about my own adventures, but to maybe introduce you to an idea that's been really helpful for me that I've been exploring in my own life and then teaching my patients about, and that is the idea of saying yes to everything. Well, you might not say yes to absolutely everything. We'll talk about how we set some boundaries around that idea. But being open to the possibility that a lot of the things that we say no to might require some second thought or some opening around, maybe I could do that, before we shut it down altogether. And all the ways that we identify as being a person who doesn't do this or doesn't do that. For example, I had identified myself as a person who is scared of heights. And so because I'm a person who's scared of heights, I would never go skydiving. And that's just that, and that book was closed. Well, some of you might know, I've mentioned it in a previous video, that I did go skydiving in January, and then I loved it so much that I did it again a couple of weeks ago. So I am no longer identifying myself as a person who could not go skydiving. Now, that's just one example, but we've got so many different ways that we identify ourselves as a person who cannot do this or that. I have patients all the time who tell me, I'm just someone who cannot exercise. I just don't like it. It's not in my nature. Or I'm just someone who's always going to have problem with food. Or I'm just someone who's never going to have a good relationship. Or I'm just someone who could never have a great intimate sexual relationship, or however that shows up for you. If we can listen to those voices that are telling us, I'm a person who can do this or that, maybe open up around that idea a little bit. That's the suggestion. So why would we do that? Well, all the ways that we identify ourselves as being someone who does this or that, we become very small and fixed. And if our goal, like mine and possibly yours, is to become the biggest version of ourselves, that is to explore the world in the biggest way possible, to not have an unlived life, to spend the second half of life in a stage of growth and optimism and trying new things and expanding our comfort zone, expanding our horizons. Why would we want to do that? It's because there's so much joy in the world and so many things to explore that if we're staying very stuck and small, basically we're limiting our ability to live the most out of life. So pushing out comfort zones in all of these different ways is what I'm suggesting. So if you adopted an initial approach, if your initial approach was to say yes, just consider it. You don't have to do this, but you can just play a game. If somebody offers something to you or something is offered to you in the community, if you set your initial approach as being yes, you could certainly do some evaluation and investigation. We want to use wise discernment, obviously, and not say yes to something that is truly crossing some boundaries or truly dangerous or what have you. But if your initial approach is to say yes, how much that opens you up to new experiences. So going back to my story, in this particular setting, I was offered an invitation to go on a 5-day, 4 days of walking, but 5 days, basically 4 days of walking in the wilderness in New Zealand with not only no internet connection, but no water, no electricity, carrying our own food, carrying our water for the day, carrying our sleeping bag with a blow-up pillow, sleeping in a hut with other people, eating dried food, and being completely off the grid for 4 days with possibly rain, bugs, mud, no showers, no regular toilets, just an outside long drop, all of those things. My initial reaction would be no, absolutely not. I have identified myself, I've said it many times, as someone who does not go camping. I don't go camping. I really like my soft pillows and my nice sheets and my predictable food. And that's something I would not do. Well, in this situation, because I was trying this new experiment of saying yes to everything, I went in with an initial yes. I said, yes, I'll do that. I realized this is actually not dangerous. I'm not going to get killed. There's a small element of danger, but it's minimal. It might be uncomfortable. It certainly will be. However, I'm not going to die. And it very likely is going to open up some amazing doors for me that I haven't experienced before, and it will push my boundaries and allow me to grow and do something I've never done before. So that was my thought process. When I said yes, my sister asked me this question, by the way, and we did this together. You're going to see a video about that in a moment. I specifically told her not to give me any details. The reason for that, and you may not feel the same way, but I wanted to stay in a space of uncertainty. When we're in a space of uncertainty, we remain curious. If I were to know every detail of this trip and have planned it all out in my mind and seen exactly the route and the photographs and the comments of people who'd done it before, and if I had to preset an idea of how it was going to be, I would again shut myself down to the possibility to learn all of the amazing things that could be offered on this hike. So I was in a very wonderful position where I had someone else who could do all that for me, because certainly someone needed to know how to do it. And I just said, yes, I'm going to come, and I'll just follow your lead, and I'll do what you say, and I'll find out on the day what we're doing. And so that was a really interesting way to go into it. And if you have an opportunity to do something like that, give it a try, because being in a space of uncertainty by very nature keeps you curious. You don't know what's going to happen. You have to be open to whatever's going to happen. And so I actually didn't even find out where this was taking place until the day before. We drove very far into the wilderness, into the rainforest, which is in the North Island of New Zealand, kind of over on the east coast, so in the middle of a rainforest with very little access. And we did this thing, and I'm going to show you a video of how it went. Not because I'm bragging about my vacation, but just to show you that, I'm someone, as you can see, who probably isn't going to do that kind of thing very often, although I might do it again now because I really got into it by the end. There's a process that we go through when we do these really difficult things. Initially, you're going to sort of rebel against it internally. I was really scared the first day. I was very out of my element, felt quite frightened, also had ideas about leaving, very normal. And if you stick with it, you start to become more comfortable. So really an exercise in just seeing that through. So what I learned from this is that I can take that experience home and apply it to my life in a setting that's more likely to come up more often than a once-in-a-lifetime trip to New Zealand. But suggestion is, think about all the different ways that you identify yourself as a person who can never do this or can only do that. And if you hear yourself saying that, just ask yourself some questions. What if I was someone who said yes to that? What would I have to lose? What would I have to gain? And going back to what we often talk about, is this in line with this future imaginary older self that I'm creating, or is it not? And my suggestion is that saying yes to everything is in line with your imaginary older self, who is all of the things that you see her as being. If she doesn't make some of these decisions now, she might become a little old lady who is very closed-minded and shut down and doesn't explore opportunities, and perhaps that's not who we want to become. So just a suggestion, check out my video. I hope you enjoy it. All right, well, I'm in New Zealand, about to start a 4-day off-the-grid hike. We're in the North Island, going to Lake Waikaremoana, which is about a 7-hour drive from here. Here's my backpack. Got it to weigh about 25 pounds. We're carrying all of our food, water for one day, obviously sleeping stuff. We're going to be hiking from hut to hut. They give you a little small mattress. We'll see when we get there. No electricity, no hot water, no showers. Just there's a faucet, a tap for regular water. This is not the Four Seasons where I usually would stay, so I'm just practicing trying new things. And I've never carried a backpack before, certainly not one that weighed 25 pounds. And I just did a half Ironman 3 days ago. Legs feel pretty good, but we'll see how they feel after hiking for 7 hours a day. Anyway, here we go. Try new things. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we're driving in a little deeper into the forest, and you just see some random animals. Hello. Walking around without an address on their collar. Not sure who they belong to. Why carry Moana? Haven't seen another vehicle in a couple of hours. Haven't had cell phone signal for about the same amount of time. Definitely feeling like we are alone. Can't really get out of here. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Well, we made it to the lake. About 8 hours of driving. This is a little hut here where we're staying. It's got some little mattresses and a pillow. We're going to be using sleeping bags. And then there's some signs of life behind us. Tomorrow morning, a boat is going to pick us up somewhere and then take us to the beginning of this walk. I just had a mini meltdown because this phone is not charged, and I thought I didn't have a charger, but I found one. It was interesting because I really wanted to make videos, and it was a moment of small panic, but absolutely cut off from the world here. There's no signal. Haven't seen any other people. Looks like there's evidence of humans, but haven't seen any. Yeah, a little bit scary, but we'll see how it goes. All right, getting on the boat. Got my pack. Let's see how long I can carry this. Now we're going over to the starting point. About halfway through day one. It's supposed to be the most difficult bit. I hope so. Margaret said this weighs 12 kilos, but it feels like more. But look at that. It's really spectacular. Problem is I'm looking at my feet the whole time, so I don't fall over. So far, just don't lean backwards. Okay, it's getting pretty steep here. Oh my goodness. It's up like this for hours, and then there's some of it that's like climbing up rocks with this backpack, and then this sharp drop off. But if you're not scared, you don't get to be brave, I guess. Still waiting to have fun, but maybe this isn't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be something else. Definitely beautiful. Yay, we made it to the first hut. It was all uphill. Now we're on top of this hill. You can't see anything because it's in the clouds. It's freezing. My hands are totally numb. We didn't know it was going to be this cold. That just happened. But here we are. Okay, let's go inside and take a look at it. I hope they have some firewood. I'm so cold. Well, I've just now warmed up. I was freezing and shivering by the fire there. Now we're playing a little game of Scrabble. It's raining and freezing. Great fun, but it's a good adventure. I didn't bring the right clothes for this, and I'm gonna have to sleep by the fire, so good stuff. All right, I've got all my long sleeve shirts and all my leggings on and the sleeping bag, and I'm lying next to the fire, and I'm just barely warm. It's about 7 o'clock. I'm gonna do this till the sun comes up. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, we're halfway through the second day, which is mostly down, so that's good. Finally, I can feel my fingers again. Last night was really challenging. I was freezing, but now I've warmed up, so feeling a little bit more positive. I was thinking about getting a helicopter to get me this morning, and then I couldn't because there's no cell signal, so I'm glad I didn't because it got better. See you in a bit. Yay, we made it to the second hut, which is fantastic for obvious reasons. It's sunny and it's warm. We're back down the bottom of the mountain. I was actually going to try to find some way to get out if it had stayed that cold. But now the sun's come out, fingers are warmed up. The hut looks pretty good, nicer than the one from last night. And then we're right on the lake. Bunch of black swans. Yeah, so this is actually, now I can understand why people do these things. I was wondering yesterday, but if it's like this, it's pretty good. And I can also charge my solar battery because this phone's about to run out of battery. So, small things, and everything's good. Well, it's early morning on day 3. This place is just spectacular. I'm just heading out to the bathroom, which is down that way. Slept in 3 shirts again last night, but I got almost 10 hours of sleep, according to the Aura Ring. We basically go to bed when it gets dark, which is about 7:30 or 8, and then stay in bed till it gets light, because that's also about 7, because there's no electricity. So yeah, it's really quiet. Got a good rest, and I wasn't freezing. So today's going to be our longest day, but it's also flat. So it's a beautiful waterfall in the middle we're going to find, and we're going to head out in a half an hour or so. We left our packs back there so we could walk up to this waterfall. But check that out. It's amazing. Well, I'm lost. I'm pretty confident I'll be found shortly. However, I went ahead of Margaret. I was just having deep in thought about something, and I was running ahead, and I got way ahead, and then I couldn't find her. So I just went to this clearing. I am actually in the middle of nowhere. Of course, I have no cell signal. Yeah, it's a weird feeling being alone in the wilderness with no contact to anybody. I know if I kept walking, I could walk out, so that's good. But yeah, just a weird feeling when you're sort of lost, even if it's temporary. We don't get to have that very often. So I'm just going to sit and wait, and I'll wait about an hour or so. And if she doesn't show up, I guess I'll keep walking. And we'll figure it out. So this is what we do, but not a bad place to be lost right now. I'm found. I made it to hut number 3. That was the longest day yet, about 6.5 hours. Lots of hills and up scrambly things that you have to use your hands, water crossings, all kinds of things. All right, I went all Reese Witherspoon on my hip there, but shoulders are okay. Now we're going to go for a swim. It's really cold. So here's what it looks like inside the hut. This is hut number 3. They've all been quite similar. This one's got 2 layers. Only the bottom one has got there's 6 women here right now. Margaret and I met some other women along the way. So this is what you do. You just get your little spot. That's my spot right there. All my stuff. There's all my belongings. That's my bed. That's Margaret, and that's our view out the window. It's kind of nice. Like you just sit outside with these other ladies and we're all eating dinner. Got our clothes hanging up because we went swimming. And then there's a separate building for cooking and a fireplace, which we probably won't need tonight. So just go to bed as soon as it gets dark. And then I was also wondering, where is the shower? I bet there isn't one. No showers. If there's a lake, like here in this hut, you can get in it. But yeah, it's Friday evening. I haven't had a shower since Monday. Pretty much wearing the same clothes, but that's what it is. And here's the toilet, which is a little walk. It's a long drop, but they do give you toilet paper. This one is fancy. And then otherwise you just pee in the grass. That's it. Got 2 fancy toilets. This is a really beautiful hut though. This is my favorite one. Just so peaceful, and the weather is amazing. So different than yesterday evening and the day before. Oh my gosh, I was about to get a helicopter and get the F out of here. It was so cold. Now it's perfect. Just shows if you wait, everything's not permanent. Okay, we made it to the beginning of day 4. We're just about to pack up and leave this little hut. I think we have about 4 hours, and then we'll get to the water taxi that'll take us back to where we started. If you can see the light on these mountains behind us, the sun's just coming up. It's about 7:30. Just gorgeous. It was so quiet last night, and when I got up to go to the bathroom, the stars were like, you've never seen anything like it. Just completely black and quiet. Luckily, my roommates didn't snore, and there's some mist coming off the lake behind. Is absolutely gorgeous. So now I know why people want to do these things. I wasn't quite sure in the beginning. Last day, a couple of hours into the last day here. Mostly it's been around the lakefront, but then sections of it go through this native forest again. It's got a little bit of sun coming through. Hear the birds? It's really spectacular. I'm just getting into it now after 4 days. Figured out how to do everything and pack my pack every morning. It's getting a bit lighter, which is great. Anyway, they've got 9 more of these great walks, so we'll see. Maybe I'll do another one. Let me do this one first. We made it. Actually, just in time. We just walked down here, and then the taxi arrived to take us back. Made it by about 30 seconds, so yay, we did it. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at my adventure. I mentioned at the beginning, just suggestion to consider saying yes to everything as your default mode. And then you can evaluate from there. But let's get rid of these identities that keep us fixed and small, because you can do a lot of things. If I can go camping like that for 5 days and hike for 4 days through mountains and forest, I did that. I'm proud of myself. And that makes me know that I can do more things in the future that I had previously thought that I was not able to do. So give it a try. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and I can't wait to see you next week.